Happy New Year! Out with the old Fragments of Silicon and in with the new Silicon, which is also in Fragments.
All right, welcome to the first broadcast of 2019 of this ongoing series. Sorry, we're coming back from a 2-week break basically. So we're a little off our game while this is literally our first broadcast that wasn't Final Fantasy 14 related since before Christmas. You know. And even if we did the New Year's thing, it wouldn't have been the same as what we do here. So,
right.
Forgive us if our pitch and timing isn't 100%. It's just working off the ring rust in real time. So, with that in mind, I'm your host Adam. Joining me, as always, is the regular crew. Let's just shift into the news. Let's see. Twilight, why don't you go, because you have recent news that you should probably talk about.
Twilight? Yeah, Twilight's still muted.
By you or by himself?
I think by himself.
Yeah. He may have slipped away to get a drink or something.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, Galix, you go first then, since...
Right.
You also have things to announce.
Yeah, I mean, my holidays were pretty low-key. Took some time off from work, spent time with family. Ooh, that's not auspicious. Twilight Winter has left the call. However, when I got back to work for the new year, I have been informed that I might be able to get some more hours, but one of the times that would be is possibly during... our usual Tuesday slot that we do for European interviews, so my availability for that may or may not be impacted, but we'll see how that develops.
Right. We've got a number of very sketchy contingency ideas right now. One of which might be we might recruit somebody from the community once again. It's it's how we've dealt with situations of this order beforehand. So if we do announce something along those lines, we'll probably put an announcement in our Discord.
Yep. Link to the Discord if you want in, by the way. Scroll down a little bit, and it should be in one of the boxes below the Twitch page.
Yeah. Of course, one of the overriding conceits here would be an availability on Tuesdays or, during the morning, 11 o'clock.
Anyway, yeah, we'll see how that develops, because I'm still not sure exactly how much time they're offering and how it would be available to be broken up. But anyway.
Well, it's also one of those you're not leaving the show, just difficult to get a hold of you for morning slots.
Where we need, just that one time slot where we need someone to do sound checks and stuff.
Right, and Twilight can't do it because he's, at his day jobs. So it's like, another option is we might end up moving the show to Thursdays. Granted, that's going to make our title card out of date, but it's one of those things that we'll deal with it when it happens.
Yeah. Right. Anyway, didn't do a whole lot video game related, or didn't get anything video game related for Christmas aside from an Xbox One controller for my PC. That has a better D-pad than a Xbox 360 controller, hopefully. I mean, it does.
I mean, you have tactile responses in your fingers, so you should be able to determine this.
Yeah, I haven't used it much yet, but yeah. And I did actually hang out with some friends and play a good amount of video games, mostly Smash, that I haven't had a whole lot of time to hang out and play. So that was fun, and that's about all I got.
All right. Petty, why don't you go?
Well, Twilight's back, I think.
If you want to
do him.
Skype's acting up for some reason.
You were muted and then left, but you're back.
Yeah. Don't know what's going on here. Anyway, I guess I'll go on ahead. Anyway, during the holiday season, well, during the break, well, I guess I'll start off with the most notable. Oh my God.
You okay?
Twilight? That's not a good sigh.
You okay, Twilight?
Uh-oh. All right, Petty Fan, why don't you go while Twilight collects himself or whatever?
Yeah, well, let's see. Overall, Christmas break was fairly uneventful on my end. For Christmas, I got, like a t-shirt, a few small things. The more things of note was I finally got some, like, strings of light that I can put underneath my bed because I've been having eye strain issues because having a loft bed with my computer under it, I was starting to get eye strain because it's so dark. So with this, that's actually seems to be helping. And I also got $130 on a GameStop gift card, which I used to pre-order Kingdom Hearts 3. So that's going to be happening. What else did I get? Wolfenstein, The New Order, and Wolfenstein 2 New Colossus for my PS4, and Project Cross Zone 2 for PS3. And I also got
a PS3 game?
Or 3DS. What the hell, brain?
Okay, I was gonna say, I knew it was a 3DS game. They could have put it somewhere else, but
yeah, no, I'm just dumb and words are hard. And also, I got myself Burnout Paradise remastered on the PS4 because PSN had it for like $6, and I figured, sure, why not? So yeah. All in all, kind of a quiet Christmas. And I guess the only other big thing that happened is Saturday, my sister's dog had a seizure, so don't really know what's going on there. Like, she hasn't had one since Saturday night, but it's something we're keeping an eye on, because she's going to be 10 in, like, March or April.
Yeah, animal medical stuff can be really hard to figure out because, they can't talk.
Yeah. So we don't know what's going on there, if it's just a one-time thing because she, like, got into something we didn't know about and was passing it through, or if it's coming on that time. But other than that, I think I'm done.
All right. So Twilight has informed us that he's having connection problems. I'm kind of hesitant to throw it back to him.
I can understand.
I guess we can give this one more try.
Yeah, I'll try one more time. I'll try to be quick. Well, during the holiday season, during the break, we was going to have a New Year's thing, but there was a mudslide when I was coming home Monday night for New Year, their New Year's Eve, and so I had to stay in town, stay at a family friend's house for that night. And thankfully they got the mudslide cleared up the next day, and this made like the third time it's happened during the break too.
No, it wasn't like large amounts of property damage. It was more just an inconvenience type thing.
It was just an inconvenience, so it
Okay.
came near a house.
Well, yeah, it's like some of those, you know, when I hear of mudslide, I'm thinking, oh god, my house is now, you know, at the base of the mountain or some shit like that.
Yeah, there's a difference between California mudslides and Kentucky mudslides, probably.
Yeah, we live in a valley, so they can happen from time to time. And the magistrate's been looking at it apparently, and hopefully they can do something about it before anything happens Friday, which is the next rain that could cause another one. Anyway, Christmas was good. Got some nice gifts. Got an electric razor, which I've been wanting one for a while.
Yeah, those are nice.
I'm sick of the traditional razors. And
Define traditional. Do you mean like the disposable ones or like the actual traditional ones?
Well, the disposable ones.
Okay.
Most common, not straight razor.
Yeah, I think the technical term is safety razors.
Safety, yeah.
Well, even safe, it's a little bit different, but yeah. Yeah, I can't do electric razors. They don't cut close enough for me.
It depends what brand you get, but yeah.
Yeah, this is Panasonic, I think.
My hair's curls, so they'll pull.
Yeah.
Ouch.
That hurts.
Anyway, in terms of gaming, I've been working on Birth by Sleep before Kingdom Hearts 3 comes out. Still haven't beaten it yet. And
have you jumped aboard the Fields train yet?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I get why some people are pretty fond of it now. Anyway, I bought the first of the Alchemists of Arland series, Atelier Rorona, off of Steam, and also bought Monster Hunter World for the PC as well, since I hate PSN.
Yeah, when I get my new computer, I'll be getting the PC version of World 2.
And I guess I'm done. So it's to you, Adam.
All right. So Christmas for me was pretty quiet. Let's see. I've already mentioned that the big gift I got this year was a new couch. But I also got pants. Now, my brother usually sends a pair of jeans for Christmas. It's not flashy, but you know how much pants cost?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's more appreciated, than you think.
I agree.
Let's see. Yeah, New Year's was also more quiet than expected. We were supposed to do a multiplayer thing featuring Zeus's Battlegrounds. That has been moved to Friday, and we'll actually be showing off 2 games on Friday. As during the holidays, I got a code for Minimax Tinyverse, which is another free-to-play game. I think it's a MOBA fusion of some kind. I honestly haven't had that much time to look into it since, been prepping for, the return of the regular series, getting back to the reviews, getting back to normal, basically. And yeah, that's about all the news I have. So, merrily we shall roll along to the interview portion of the broadcast. And this week we have Blane Humphries of Woovit.
Hi, yeah, I'm here. Thanks for having me on. I was actually funny you mentioned Minimax. That game is actually on Woovit right now.
Casual segue.
Yeah. It's like a nice little thing.
Yeah.
I suppose.
Well, that's handy. I suppose I can grab another code and give it to I can give it to Petty Fan. So.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So. Yeah, I am a relations manager at Woovit. Woovit is a key distribution platform that connects content creators like yourselves on Twitch, YouTube, and Mixer with game publishers and creators looking to stream new games. Can log in, create an account, instant sign up with your Twitch, Mixer, YouTube ID, and if you qualify for a campaign, you get keys. And that is what we do. And Minimax is one of the games on there, so if you meet the requirements, you can get a key right away.
Yes. Right. So before we delve more into that, we'd like to get the background of the people who front for the studio, the game, the what have you. And we'd like to start by asking, what got you interested in video games in the first place?
Yeah. So I have actually been in the industry for about 4 or 5 years now, filling various roles. I actually freelanced as a reporter to kind of get into it more, and did a lot of podcasting where I connected with a lot of developers that really got me really interested in pursuing a career further in the industry, and also got really involved with my local scene, which was in Atlanta at the time, and yeah, I fell in love with the industry and wanted to do more. And from there, it was kind of a natural progression into PR, where I did PR for indie game PR agency for a little bit. And recently, about a year and a half ago, or a year and a few months ago, I left Atlanta, moved to San Francisco, and started working at Triple Point PR, which is also where I connected with Woovit. So Woovit is actually being incubated by Triple Point. And so we wear many hats, those of us at both the PR agency as well as at Woovit.
Not surprised that this is attached to a PR agency, since kind of goes part and parcel. How do I put this? I suppose it's time to pull the curtain back on how some of the back end of all this works. I'm like, from my perspective, because the audience here usually doesn't see the mechanics that goes into that, but
yeah.
So there are sites out there that are facilitators, intermediaries, if you will, between content creators and publishers. There's the direct approach, but there's also the likes of Terminals. There's Do Distribute. There's Woovit, and there's Keymailer. I think those are the 4 major ones.
So yeah, when you see a reviewer who's reviewing a game and they say review code provided by such and such, they often get it through one of these services.
Right. We usually list the developer, the publisher, even if we get it through one of the intermediaries, because it's still coming from that entity. They're just
right.
Using...
It's easier for the publisher to say, "Hey, you do this kind of thing. Why don't you find a bunch of people who do YouTube and Twitch videos to give this game to, that can then do reviews for us?" Than it is for them to find them all themselves.
Yeah. Anyway,
and to kind of dive into that, Woovit was founded specifically by our agency because we needed a tool that we could also use to help streamline our own processes. So the big one out there that everyone or a lot of people use, or the 2 main ones, are Keymailer and Terminals, but they don't always authenticate creators the way we do. So with us, if I am a game publisher and I'm looking to connect with content creators in some capacity, I can create my campaign on Woovit. I create the campaign, I put the keys into it, and then I know that anybody who is claiming a key from Woovit is an authenticated creator. They are saying who they say they are, and they meet the requirements that I set. So no one else out there really does this right now. And also with us, if when you announce a game, we see this all the time on the PR side. When we announce a game, we get flooded with requests from content creators of all sizes and scammers. So if I announce a game tomorrow, I'm going to have 300 emails in my inbox by the end of the day. And that takes a lot of time to go through. So, and also if you count the verification process and making sure everyone is who they say they are and whether or not they're quality enough for me to want to give them a key. So with Woovit, I just send them that link and that handles all of the authentication and all of the qualifications for me, and I don't have to worry about it. It gives them a key, and we even track the video for any videos that creator produces. So Woovit also uses a quota system that keeps the creators engaged with our setup. So a creator can claim up to 3 keys at a time before they have to produce a video, and when they produce a video, it will reset the quota and they can claim 3 more keys. So this way, it keeps people from taking everything in our database and then not producing anything. They have to produce something if they want more. And more recently, we've started implementing like premium campaigns or paid campaigns, which lets creators get paid for the games or for the campaigns that they accept. But those are all created by the publishers. So we are not, pulling a database or a library somewhere and throwing these things up. Everything that is on Woovit is a live campaign backed with keys created by the publisher.
Yeah, it's like authentication is a real issue for our side. Like, it's like, especially for our program, because we tend to ask for multiple keys from people because, we are 4 people here. So, and
we do cooperative reviews, and we're not close enough where someone can go over to someone else's house to use their computer or anything.
Yeah. So, but
a lot of people take advantage of things that let them ask for more codes and just, oh, hey, I totally have an extra code here that I can just offer to someone else or resell or something, and that's not cool.
Right. It's like, well, it's not helped that one of the biggest distributors do distribute is it has no check marks. Like, it's really easy to be a faker on that particular thing, and the others have problems too. So, I can definitely see why this system is appreciated from the publisher's point of view. Like, I'm not sure if you can gauge this accurately, but like, do the publishers like your system? Like, are they eager?
Oh yeah. So they definitely have. We've actually publishers who they're tired of kind of dealing with the sort of nonsense that kind of comes through, especially like one of the bigger platforms out there, will pull the entire Steam database, and the moment like a Steam store page is created, it gets added to that platform's library, where then creators can start automatically requesting keys for it, whoever they are, unauthenticated or not. And by the time the publisher gets around to checking it, they have hundreds of or thousands of requests. Just they now have to sort through. So with us, without us having to pull that database, without us automatically pulling that database, they don't start getting requests until they make the campaign, which is good because it keeps the creator from forgetting about the game, so they know when they see it, it is there, and also prevents or keeps the game relevant to the creators who are requesting it. Because if the creator requests a key from something and then they don't get a response until 3 or 4 weeks later, then the creator's probably forgotten about it or it's not relevant to them anymore, because that's how long it took for the publisher to sift through all those hundreds or thousands of requests. So, and the publishers love the authentication side, and they love the automatic reporting, because they're not having to go through and search YouTube, Twitch, and Mixer for all the videos that are being made against the keys. And they're seeing a higher rate of return on videos from the keys distributed, because they're not sending out, thousands of keys to random creators. They're sending them to people who actually are invested and interested in the game. And because of the quota system, it yields a higher return rate because creators want to keep using our platform.
That definitely makes sense, and I can say that from personal experience that the publishers are watching the videos, because
they are.
It's like, because we actually had like one of the publishers of one of the games show up in our Discord because it's one of our reviews, because we found a bug that they didn't find.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it turns out they didn't have Xbox One controllers. Like, I hope that helped, but
Yeah. No, and being on the PR side, we watch all the videos. So if that's ever a question of wondering if the publisher sees it or not, no, they're watching it. Sometimes it may take a little bit, but it's being watched at some point by someone. Yeah, no, and that is something that everyone appreciates it, and the fact that on the creator side, because they're not having to jump through a bunch of hoops to prove validation or even show their audience numbers, because Woovit shows all of that right there. Creators like it too.
Yeah, I can definitely. It's got a lot of expedite. It's like I don't have to send a link or anything to the creators. The Woovit database does that for me, and that is actually rather handy. Like, it's also as far as the videos being watched, it's kind of hard to discern when you don't get feedback. Like, I suppose this may be a thing for the future for the platform. Maybe have a feedback system of some sort between the publishers and the content creators.
Yeah. So that is actually one of the things on our roadmap for this year. So Woovit's only been out publicly for a little over a year now, and it's in that year we have close to 10,000 fully organically attracted content creators using the platform. We didn't put any money into advertising or marketing. This is just people joining the platform because they found out about it through some means and they wanted to sign up for it. Same thing with the publishers. I will reach out to a publisher and invite them, to check out the platform and see if they want to get involved. But we're not spending any money in advertising or other means to get all this. This is all organic growth, and including our feature development. We take community feedback very seriously, and anybody who pings our help channel may have probably spoken to either me or one of our founders, Rich, at some point. And we have actually one of the most recent features we've developed was publisher notes. So if you are a publisher and you can go into the search database and you can actually, if there's a creator you've worked with before, you can leave notes for that, so that you see your past interactions that you've had with that creator. And that was partly driven by community feedback, and as well as our new creator profiles. So if you create an account on Woovit as a creator, you get your own sort of creator database that will show your growth and your audience and gives a good place of reference for you. So when you're showing a developer, hey, I want your game, this is my audience, you can send them your Woovit profile link and they get a snapshot of your statistics and viewership. And all of that has been very well received by everyone and has been also driven by community feedback.
Right. And how many people work at Woovit / Triple Point at this point in time?
So that is an interesting question. With Woovit, there are only 4 or 5 of us, maybe 6. Yeah, it's we've got a smaller development team, and then but totally dedicated to exclusively Woovit, and then we've got our 2 founders and me. And so we wear many hats, so we do lots of things.
That's how it goes with a small operation.
That's the startup life.
Indeed. So you mentioned the roadmap of 2019 bit ago. What else can you disclose from said roadmap at this juncture?
Yeah. Let's see. So we just implemented the notes thing. So one of the things that we are looking at streamlining more and making better is our paid offer campaigns, as well as changing or adding some enhanced features to the way Woovit Premium accounts are currently done. And the paid campaigns was kind of a bit of an experiment for us, just because we had never done anything quite like that, and we wanted to see what else we could do, where it would go, and what the demand for it even was. And we learned a lot from it. We know that the current system we have implemented it's okay, it's functional, but it needs to be better. And we have received a lot of feedback from both publishers and creators on things they would like to see improved. And so we are currently taking steps to kind of take that process to the next level, as well as lots of other tweaks and improvements, in other systems too. The feedback option is going to be one kind of developed through an integrated messaging system that we're looking at doing. So yeah, that's just little taste of what we got going on. There's lots of other things, but a lot of things are happening in 2019, and it's just over the past year, the platform has grown so much and has added so much functionality that it's looking pretty strong in 2019.
Now, in terms of the actual codes offered, is it just Steam codes, or do you get like console codes on the platform as well?
So it's codes for anything. It doesn't even have to be game related. So one of the things we are looking to integrate more is even like products. So Respawn Gaming is actually a company that's on there. It's not Respawn Entertainment, but it's Respawn Gaming. Respawn Products. They make like gaming chairs and desks, and so they actually have a campaign on Woovit, and I think there's also Grady's Cold Brew Coffee. They had a campaign up on Woovit, and so if you redeemed like one of their campaigns, you would get a key to use on their store that gave you like 100% discount.
Man.
It may still be live.
You stole my joke about downloading coffee.
It's so the thing with Woovit is, you could use it with any platform that has code distribution. So if you have an online store for something that has coupon codes, you can integrate it into Woovit.
Interesting. Like, and let's see. All right. Is it just one code being offered, or like for a multiplayer game, would there be an opportunity to get like 2 or 4, whatever the multiplayer experience is offering?
Yeah, so you can add as many keys as you want to be given per, I guess, activation, or per person claiming it. So the only thing is that's one of the things we know we need to work on improving a bit more, because it's not super intuitive on how to do it. But you can do it. We do have the tools. So for Deep Rock Galactic was one of the campaigns we had, and it was a four-player co-op space dwarf alien bug shooter thing, and that game, the Coffee Stain wanted to be able to distribute keys in sets of 4, and so they used Woovit to have it set up so that everybody who claimed the campaign got 4 keys. And so it works. We know it works, and publishers have used it. We know on our end we got to do better to make sure everybody knows about that.
Well, as you mentioned, it's a young platform, so there are kinks to be worked out. Does the Woovit platform have a mobile version available?
Yes, it does. Our dev team is very adamant about making sure anytime we want to do something, it works for mobile. So it is fully functional in mobile. I personally have not used it in mobile, but I'm sure somebody has. So just based on how persnickety our developers are, and making sure that it is usable on mobile. So yeah, no, it is definitely there and usable.
Probably help with the, I presume iOS and Android codes if they exist on the platform.
Yeah. We've had a few of those campaigns, not as many. Recently, we've had a lot of Switch stuff too, which, and Switch. I don't know if you guys have ever had to deal with the don't know, getting keys for Switch, it's a bit more difficult because Nintendo has a hard lock on like how many keys they'll give out to a developer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm like, we generally try to stay away from console codes because not only is there a hard lock, but to generate keys that costs money. Like as opposed to Steam, where you can just generate keys for days.
I mean, I'd love to get more Switch codes because I have a Switch and it's a lot easier to play games on the go with a Switch. I'd have more time for it than I do when it's like, oh, hey, well, that would be great. I'd love to play that game on my PC if I could bring my PC to work.
Right.
Or or to the places that I go after work, or
like.
But yeah, I understand why it's tougher.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but that is kind of how it goes. Like, like with as far as mobile codes, I don't know exactly how it works for like Google. But I know, like, or at least it used to be the case, like Apple would only allow you 50 promo codes. This may have changed, but yeah, that was how it once was. Like,
yeah, I'm not sure. I do remember that being the same, or you would have to go through like test flight and all that, and yeah, I'm not sure if it's still like that with Apple, but that's why typically, like on Woovit in particular, if you see any Switch campaigns, they tend to have like way higher requirements than even like the same game on other platforms. I think Paradox has City Skylines, and they have their Switch version up, and as well as all the PC versions and expansions. And the Switch campaigns requirements are a lot higher because there's such a hard limit on how many keys they're able to give out.
And let's talk about the requirement system. How does that work out exactly?
So we pull all the data from the Twitch, YouTube, and Mixer APIs. And so whenever you create your account, you log in through the API, and that lets our system crawl your channel. And when we crawl your channel, we're checking for your viewership. We track max concurrence, as well as total views, subscribers / followers, and various forms of data, as well as authenticate your account, make sure you're legitimate and you are who you say you are. And so as a publisher, when you are creating your campaign, you can set the requirements to be however you want them to be, whether if you want somebody to have 1 million YouTube subscribers but 1,000 Twitch followers, you can do that. Or you can set it so that somebody has an average viewership of, say 500 views. And we track viewership based on that 3-month period. And we also are one of the only platforms I know of that will let you sync your Steam account to it. So in the case of, say, you're Paradox and you are releasing a new City Skylines expansion, but in order for them to claim it, you want somebody to have played, say 2 hours of City Skylines before, so you know that they're familiar with the game. You can set that requirement.
Indeed. And does the system take into account social media?
So currently Twitter. We don't have integrations for everything yet. I think Instagram is one of the next big ones we have on our radar. But yeah, so we are mostly focused on video deliveries, but you can, as a publisher, set requirements for like Twitter followers. And you can also authenticate your account through Twitter as well.
Interesting. What sort of requirement levels can publishers set? In terms of numbers.
I mean, it could be anything. If you want it to be average viewers or just subscribers, you could set those.
If they want to demand 7 billion viewers, they're going to be disappointed.
Right.
Well, then they're basically catering to Ninja.
We set that expectation, whenever they're creating the campaign. just so that everybody kind of knows what they can expect. So as you are typing in your requirements, there's an update. There's a counter that's updating with the total number of creators that are on the platform that will qualify for the campaign based on what you're putting in. So they do see generally, the maximum number of people they could get. And it helps, set the expectation with them as to the number of requests or videos they're going to get.
Well, good to know. And is there any sort of minimum requirement or maximum requirement for numbers? Like, is there a cap? Like, do you have to have like absolute bare minimum 10 followers, or the maximum amount is like 1 million followers, or what?
Or for that matter, can you require that your things only get promoted to people who only have no more than 100 followers?
No.
Yes. Yeah. No. So that is kind of the basis on the publisher side of how it works. If you set the requirement to be 100 followers, people who don't have 100 followers cannot accept the campaign. So they won't be able to get a key. Now, if you are a creator looking to create your account on Woovit, I believe its minimum is 50 subscribers on YouTube, or 50 followers on Twitch. I have to double check those numbers, but we do have it's a very low minimum, but it's enough to show that if it's somebody who's serious about creating content, it's a requirement that they should have already met. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so that there is that. There's no maximum. It'd be anybody who has 1 million subscribers cannot use Woovit. Like that'd be kind of weird. But no, and same thing on the publisher side. There's no, you can only set the minimums. There's no maximum, and publishers have the option to, if they have a premium account, they can enable manual review for all the requests that are coming in, so that when you're a creator and there's a campaign that's up for manual review, you'll request the key, and it'll tell the publisher you have this creator wanting a key, and it gives a snapshot of your audience and viewership, and they can check out the links to your channels and everything to make sure you're a good fit.
Like, say you have 98 followers and they need 100, something like that.
So in that case, you wouldn't be able to accept a campaign just because that requirement's not met. But if you meet, any of the other requirements that they said, so if they put, 100 Twitch, 200 YouTube, you only have 98 Twitch, but say 210 YouTube, you can still claim the campaign.
Or like if they have something like active viewers, say you have 75
right.
active viewers, but you only have like 100 followers.
Yeah, so that's where like the average viewership requirement could come in if they want to use that instead.
Mm-hmm. And
so it sounds like you have pretty robust tools for defining what the requirements are.
Yeah, and it's one of the things that we're looking to get more of, kind of, because we want to be as inclusive as possible for the publishers and meet whatever kind of demands that they need, as well as continuing to serve the creators. And so, right now it is mostly numbers focused, just in terms of audience size and viewership. But we're looking to see if there's any other things we can do.
And what? Oh. I hate that when you have a thing and you forget it. Anyway. Sorry about that, folks. Lost the train of thought there. All right. So, what do you have in terms of external advertisements? Is it just word of mouth?
So currently, in terms of promoting Woovit, it's stuff like this. You guys inviting me onto a podcast and talking about it, or publishers who just share it. We've got publishers who will share their Woovit publisher page, and that was actually one of the new features we also implemented last year. So if you one of the big ones is like Paradox Interactive. If you go to Woovit and you see a campaign from Paradox Interactive and you want to know what else they have on Woovit, you can click their name and it'll show you their publisher page, which is a little bio about them and all of the campaigns they have running on Woovit. And so Versus Evil actually late last year directly shared the link to their publisher page on Woovit. And so, that also helped boost our presence more. So stuff like that is how we get word of mouth out. And through Woovit, one of the premium options that we have is one of the you can feature your campaign. So it puts it on the homepage of Woovit and it gets a little yellow border around it. And it's for everyone to see. And so that is one of the, I guess you would say, in-platform methods of advertising that we have. And both publishers and creators have seemed to like it because it's very minimal. And it just, little feature spot on the homepage and the yellow border for everything else.
And do you what kind of fee do you offer to the publishers, if any?
So it's totally free. The only heavy form of monetization we have right now is the premium campaigns or premium Woovit accounts, and that is for the feature spot, manual review. You also get access to, or you get the ability to offer paid campaigns. And there's some other features we're developing out more to make it a stronger value proposition, as well as for both us as well as the publisher. But because it is being largely incubated right now, we're still growing. It's we're not heavily monetized yet, but we're looking to do a few more things. But currently, the core service of creating a campaign and connecting with the creators that is free, and that will likely always remain free. And we have for the creators, it's free completely.
That is interesting because, as far as I know, the other big sites have a fee if you use their platform.
That, and that is one of the things that does set us apart because ours is the premium account, Woovit account service that is optional, and it just is to further enhance the services that you're getting out of Woovit already, but it's not required to use it as a publisher.
Interesting. So there's no concerns about keeping the website funded or anything like that?
So it's part of a longer-term business plan. So currently, we're still in the initial stages of building the audience and establishing the brand. And then we'll go from there and, looking to do more stuff with like paid campaigns and brand deals and sponsorships. So that way it doesn't, that won't necessarily impede with the experience at all. And if anything, it'll help the creators a lot more because it, opens up more monetization opportunities to them. So, and that seems to be where it's headed now, but, still early, so things could change. But currently, as it stands, totally free to use. So, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, indeed. Do want to point out that the game we've been showcasing here, Lines, is a game that is available on Woovit. In fact, we are planning on actually reviewing it this Sunday.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think I've seen that one. I've actually been watching the video as we've been talking. It's kind of mesmerizing.
Yeah, it actually looks like a pretty neat game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it's like if you want to pick it up, now would actually be a good time because it's half off Steam Winter Sale. Like it's $2.74 from $5 if I'm recalling correctly. Like anyway. I'll see if my colleagues here have any questions to ask about your service.
I'll be honest, I'm not super great at coming up for questions for people who are on a marketing middleman thing site as well as I am for people who actually like develop stuff about games, but
yeah, I think all my stuff's been taken care of.
It is an interesting. So we are in an interesting spot. It's not your traditional sort of thing, I guess, that you guys normally discuss. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. It's just that the questions aren't. From what I've heard, it sounds like you have a pretty decent setup for figuring out how to make stuff available. So that sounds good. Also, I don't really, since Adam's the one who does most of the stuff, I don't have a lot of comparison experience.
Mm-hmm.
I guess one thing that would be, just looking at it, one thing that would be nice to like add like different sort of tags for like developers or publishers to look at, like, oh, this person wants this as like a review podcast account. This is just a general gaming account, stuff like that.
Or possibly people that specialize in certain genres or stuff. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So genre tags has been something that we are looking at doing more. It's more complicated than it initially seems.
Yeah.
Which I know is weird because you don't think it would be, and on the surface it shouldn't be, but it is. And so, again, with our small development team, to getting them to do something like that, because they would essentially have to create an entire database. So it takes time, and it is something we're looking to do more of. But in regards to the creator stuff, the creators do have their creator profiles that, like if you have a Woovit account, you can go and fill out the creator profile with what you want or what you do and what you're looking for, so that that information is readily available. The way I sort of have described our creator page features, it's almost like the Alexa but for content creators, because it's a quick snapshot, and shows the metrics and shows your past videos, all at a glance, and it's easily referenced.
Indeed. I know a number of our reviews have shown up there. I can think about 9 currently.
Mm-hmm.
It's like technically 10. I don't know. Oddly enough, one of the future reviews got pinged already. Like, not sure what that's about, but anyway. I think that's about it for questions on my end. So, and plus we have to get moving to our next segment. So, Blane, it was wonderful having you on the program. In my estimation, Woovit is a very handy site, especially since if I want a code for something, I can just grab it. As opposed to the other sites where when you put in a request, you do have to wait for someone to authorize it. It really, it is a really streamlined service, and I look forward to seeing improvements in the year ahead.
Yeah, no, and thank you for having me on and giving me a chance to talk about it. Especially a good way to kind of kick off the year.
Indeed. Right, so the platform is Woovit. It's kind of hard to recommend that our audience go to it, because it's not really for
consumers.
Yeah, it's for us, the creators.
But if you want to start out a podcast reviewing games, then sure, maybe try it out.
Yeah, if you get your minimum requirements. Anyway, Petty Fan, play us to the next segment. All right, welcome to our topic of discussion. So, as per tradition, we'll be talking about the best and the worst of 2018 in terms of gaming, or at least more specifically our gaming, because our best and worst will look very different from any other list out there.
Yeah, we have we review different things than a lot of other people do, so
well, and moreover, we don't tie ourselves down to a year, so we have games that came out like a year or two ago that are technically up for our game of a year.
Yeah. That too. but it's also, you're not going to see God of War or Spider-Man or Super Smash Brothers on our list. That may be a personal
not
game.
until we get some major game developer hookups.
Yeah, it's like that may. Well, it's more that may be a personal game of the year, but it's like it's not something we reviewed. Like, I mean, that's not to say that we haven't reviewed AAA games this year. For example, Ni no Kuni 2, that was certainly AAA, and we got to review it. Red Faction Guerrilla, maybe not AAA, but still, at least AA, maybe 1A. It's like, I'm not sure where you'd put the remastering of that. Point of order is, it does occasionally happen, especially since we happen to have friends at Bandai Namco, or Square Enix. I mean, there was that time, when we got Just Cause 3, but I don't think we ever reviewed it.
Yeah, I remember we couldn't review it because computer power issues.
Well, it's more issues with Just Cause 3, because if you recall, Just Cause 3 required like insane requirements to get running good at all.
Yeah.
It's like it's honestly something that may have tanked the franchise, because Just Cause 4, from what I've been hearing, has not sold well at all. And that could be just a crowded Christmas, or it could be damage that Just Cause 3 did. But focusing in on our list, we reviewed about 108 games last year. Mind you, that is not, that is between all of us. Nobody reviewed all the games of last year. I'm like, I definitely, I review the most because, sometimes we just get one code. I'll usually be the person who handles the single code. Occasionally, I'll hand one of those off to the team here if I'm too busy, or if it's like a console, it's like, if it's a Switch code, it's going to Galix. If it's a PlayStation 4 code, it's going to Pettyfan, and we did have those last year. Not many, but they did happen. Anyway, I suppose we should get into it. Best and worst. Who wants to start?
Oh God. Well, worst. We'd probably have a good idea on few for the worst.
Yeah. I'm like, let's see. I'd say the absolute worst. That's a bit hard to. I'm like, I think ultimately I'd have to go with Dead Pixels Adventures for the worst.
Yeah.
Okay.
Barring games that literally didn't work.
Well, it's like, yeah, I think the game itself barely worked, like maybe technically worked, but if you missed our review on Dead Pixels Adventures, it was less of a review and more of a rant, because this is a very specific kind of vendor trash that has since been banned from Steam, if I'm recalling correctly.
Yeah.
It's achievement spam. Like, you open it up, you get achievements. Also, Valve has changed the way achievements are displayed. They no longer display how many achievements you got. So getting 5,000 achievements means even less now than it did before. So, yeah.
And I guess in close second for worst of the year would probably be Modern Combat 5. Oh God, that review was more less of a review and more of a fucking roast.
Yeah, well, it's like half an hour with that game, and at least
you made your FPS nerd nope the hell out.
Well, it's like not only that, but we couldn't get the damn multiplayer working. I should note, Modern Combat Versus is on the docket right now, but I'm expecting a much better experience because this was actually built for PCs. If nothing else, everything should work. The the base problem with Modern Combat 5 was it was originally a mobile game, and they just lazily ported it to the platform.
Yeah.
You know, no adjustments done.
Yeah,
So-
the whole screen was crowded with options.
Yeah, it's like anything that has a ridiculously huge UI
Mhm.
is usually meant for mobile because, small screen. Another good way is if you have to swipe shit.
Mhm.
Mhm.
It's like that's a dead fucking giveaway that this is mobile based, one way or another. Right. Other pieces of shit that we reviewed. Let's see. Until None Remain.
Oh
This was
God,
our-
no!
Yeah. This was our first Battle Royale game. And it's an abject lesson of why Battle Royale games do not work if they're unfucking populated.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Wasn't there one
Who
match?
knows?
It was
That game
just
might have been
us.
fun if you play it with the intended number of players. I mean, it's not likely, but it's possible.
Oh, let's see. Another one to be thrown under the bus, Alteric or Alteric.
Mhm.
If you don't remember this one, this is a Super Meat Boy inspired platformer with the physics of a glacier, and the speed of one as well. Like,
I think
I
I feel like there was more than one game that really wished that it was Super Meat Boy this year.
there was a few of them, but this was arguably the worst because at least the other ones understood that having some sort of rapid pace was important. This one was a leisurely stroll at best.
Mhm.
In fact, I remember Pettyfan complaining about this after we got done with the review.
Yeah.
Like, let's see, Past Cure.
Ah, yes, the game I want to be both horror and a Max Payne game.
I'm honestly shocked that this didn't make certain other people's worst of lists.
Indeed.
I guess it was just that fucking forgettable.
Mhm.
Because it's probably the highest budgeted thing that was a piece of shit on our list.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
Because, it had an attempt at production value. An attempt. Oh,
Mhm.
God. I think the PlayStation 2 would have been embarrassed at points here.
Yeah.
And nobody here could make it more than a couple of hours into the game. Wrote fucking horror at best. Just a piece of shit at worst. If you want to know more, go listen to our review.
Yeah. By the way, everything mentioned here, the reviews are available in the archive.
Yep.
Yeah, and we don't need to re-review things that have already been reviewed,
No.
Mm-hmm.
but we are just recapping.
Another one to cast into the abyss of the ages is Extinction. This one has actually been making some worst of lists.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Oh fuck, we did review that.
I'm like,
Also, it's been a really long year.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, it's been 10,000 years last year. I know. Everybody's fucking saying that. I'm like,
No,
it's
it's 3,000
2009.
years because then you can use the Pokemon trainer as image.
Anyway, getting back to what I was talking about, Extinction, the poor man's Attack on Titan.
Yep.
I'm really struggling to remember anything from this game, other than
I'm sure I only
really-
remember anything
It's like
good.
Attack on Titan, only worse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
floaty, repetitive gameplay loops and shit like that. This was pretty boring as well. Once again, if you want more articulate thoughts on the game, go into the archives and watch the review. I mean, that's kind of the thing with some of these games. Once we've done the review, the memory dumps because, we've got another 2 or 3 games to review.
Mhm.
It's like, that's kind of showing where we are on the bad scale. We're getting into the forgettable bad. Another one was All Love. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah.
See, I keep thinking that was one of the. I know it wasn't actually a bajillion visual novels this year, but it feels like it. But no, that was the mediocre Valentine themed puzzle game.
yes.
Yeah.
Like, and we actually got a lot of praise from the publisher from that one. Like,
Mhm.
in fact, I think we might have had an effect on it because I distinctly remember we mentioned the price being too high. If you recall, it was $5. The price has been dropped to 99 cents. Like,
See, for 99 cents, that's not that bad of a game.
Indeed.
No. Like, the publisher agreed with us. He thought it was too much money, and it was apparently the developer that set the price.
Mhm.
Like, I did share that email, though I'm not sure how many people read that. Point of order is, it wasn't $5 good. That is a frequent saying when we do the reviews.
Yeah.
Like,
Because unlike a lot of reviewers, we don't review games in a vacuum. If it's in a genre that we are familiar with, we will compare it to other games in that genre we know about.
Yeah, and price is going to be, it's going to be a factor. Like, it's always a factor. It's literally part of our criteria. It's like, if you think it's unfair, well, like, people are expected to pay money for these things.
Yeah, it's really subjective, but is this game worth the amount of money you pay for it is kind of an important factor in whether a game is worth it.
Yeah, I believe we've had some complaints about that criteria, but meh.
We're not dropping it.
Yeah.
Like, I guess, we could go on and on, but, I'll finish this up with Quest of Vidhura, another one of the Super Meat Boy clones we reviewed this
That
year.
was the other one I was thinking of.
Yeah, it's like, this was not good, but it was better than Alteric. Because it didn't have the awful physics of slowness. God, I cannot get over how bad of an idea that was. All right, so any other bad games we want to clear out before we go to the best?
Sadly, I cannot contribute as much as bad as I try to because I try not to remember too much about terrible games.
I guess the only other thing that I was really kind of disappointed with was Grimwood.
Oh yeah, I was really disappointed with Grimwood too. I was wanting to like that game.
Oh yeah.
That one wasn't that. If I recall correctly, that one wasn't actually like super terrible, but it definitely wasn't as good as we hoped.
Well, the thing that held it back is because it required a community, and it just didn't have it.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. I guess a little free tip for game developers: make sure you have a community if you want to make an online game that requires a community.
All right, so switching over to Best of 2019, we've actually got some competition here.
Oh yeah.
Indeed.
Like, so where to start? I guess we should start with Dead Cells.
I was gonna say Dead Cells was probably one of my favorites.
I'm like, I'll be honest. Dead Cell tops my games of the year list. I'm like, and indeed, Dead Cells is a game that has been racking up the awards in other places. It's getting a lot of recognition, and it's like, I'm really pleased that I got in early on Dead Cells. That we got in early. We had Motion Twin on really early in development of the game. Back when it was like literally half finished, but it's like even then, I knew this was going to be something special. It was just polished to a near shine in early access.
Mhm.
That is really fucking rare.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that is really fucking rare.
And again, this is why we don't review early access titles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's like, yeah, we didn't review this in early access because it was literally half finished. You know, it's like the mechanics and everything worked really well even in early access, but the content was not there. It's like, and other things did change. I did see, but that were fairly minor stuff, or there's like achievements being added and so on and so forth.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's like, I mean, I don't think I have to explain what Dead Cells is, given it's not just really good, it's fairly popular.
Mhm.
It's been and for an indie game, that's really, really sterling. Like especially like on the Nintendo Switch, it's been doing really well there.
Mhm.
Well, it's really well tuned for that kind of environment too.
Yeah.
I'm not going to disagree with you.
Yeah, like I kind of wish this was like, if this came out several years ago, it was on like the 3DS or the Vita as well.
I'm not sure how well how
Vita
well that would
maybe,
have worked out.
3DS maybe not.
I'm like, maybe new 3DS, but I'm like,
Yeah.
It has enough special effects that it does actually have fairly reasonable.
Like it's not
Yeah.
going to make the Switch sweat, and it'd probably work on the Vita. But I'm like, the 3DS, I think they would have had to make some sacrifices to get it to work there.
Well, I'm just more
Yeah.
in like this is a game that I want to play portably.
Yeah. I get that.
Queue through a couple runs while I'm waiting on the bus or something.
Yeah, it's really good for that. I think we noted that in the review.
Mhm.
I'm like, let's see, what else? Probably second on my list, Dusk.
Oh yes, I enjoy Dusk.
Yes.
10 out of 10 would play again.
Well, I mean, you still have it. So,
Yes, and I'm debating what I want to do for post show.
Well, I mean, like Dusk is getting some recognition like right now because Dusk was our last review of the year. I'm like literally our last review, and because it got out of early access early December, if I'm recalling correctly.
Yeah, like when it came out of early access was probably one of the worst times to do it.
Yeah, I'm like, yet it got in before the Steam sale, the Steam Winter sale. So I think the game has been doing all right. I've been monitoring David Oshry's tweets on the matter. And indeed, they just released the roadmap of 2019 for the game. Things like co-op mode is coming.
Yes, please.
Yeah, we might do some of that for the channel when that gets released. Yes. I'm also pleased with. I think we're one of the only reviews that covered Duskworld. I'm like, I've, of the Dusk reviews I've watched, most of it's been on the single player stuff.
And that's fine and all, but there's other aspects to the game.
Yeah, I mean, mind you, I did think, we did think that Dusk's multiplayer was good, but it's kind of limited. But I assume that's going to be something that gets expanded upon in the year ahead. Now, it's like, I'd have to look at the particulars. Like, anyway, let's see. Other highlights. City of Brass.
Yes.
That was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not sure if this one kind of slipped under the radar or not. Because once again, it was in early access for a long while, and and by the way, it's just coincidental that my top 3 were early access games for a long while, like because you know, now didn't play Dusk. But how its early access worked was episode upon episode, like episode 1, like episode 2, episode 3. So, it was once again a content thing. City of Brass, ditto. Like, really, like all the gameplay was there even in early access. The thing is, like when we covered the game, it did not have all the content. Like it didn't have the boss at the end. Although I don't think anyone reached at the, because City, if you recall, City of Brass is a roguelike, wrapped around an FPS. And it's got very Bioshocky mechanics. And as somebody who's played a lot of roguelike stuff to the point of fatigue, I still really, really enjoyed this one. Like, let's see. Number 4, Forgotten Anne.
I actually wasn't too fond of that, but I think that's just a personal thing.
Yeah, I'm like, I wanted to like this more. I think my issues were more in the gameplay. Like, the gameplay was pretty typical puzzle platformer, or more specifically, the cinematic platformer. But Forgotten Anne has some of the best visuals I've ever seen in a game, just bar none.
Yeah, it was really nice looking, and the gameplay was puzzle platformer stuff.
I got a couple to throw in. Bloodstained Curse of the Moon for being a really nice surprise from that project, and for being a really solid retro Castlevania style game.
Yeah,
and
if nothing, if nothing else, the Bloodstained campaign has justified itself just on this game.
Yeah.
It did.
It's not Castlevania 3 level of good, but it's still pretty good. Anyway, continue.
And I know I'm the one who was like the reason that we actually reviewed this one is because I had an extra code for it, but Time Spinner for coming out and being pretty good. It's probably not like super amazing, but it's really solid for being basically like a one person plus a musician Metroidvania thing, and the story and everything and the graphics were all pretty well developed and interesting. So I know it was only me and Petty Fan played a little bit of that for showing, but I enjoyed it also. And Ninja Clash of Carrots, I'm going to throw in there as being way better than I expected it to be, at least.
Yeah, that's where I was on the game. I was expecting a pretty average game, but it's one of the better ones I played for the show this year. Once again, if you want more articulate thoughts, go watch the reviews. Let's see. Have to toss this one in. Luminous Remastered. Mind you, Luminous is one of those games that I've appreciated more than enjoyed. Like, Luminous is, I like it, but I'm not absolutely ravenously in love with it like some other people are.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there are people who love Luminous to death.
There are still people who are modding the original game.
Among other things. It's like, Luminous, I've never really enjoyed its, not mechanics, but its layout. It's like, as much as, say, Tetris. Like, Luminous, I like for an hour, 2 hours, especially since the presentation can get repetitive far quicker than, once again, Tetris. But, it is still one of the vanguards of the block drop puzzle genre. I think that's what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
It's differentiated, say, like a match 3 puzzler or whatever. Let me see. Yeah, so many games.
Mhm. Like I know I
Well,
personally
side note, or sidetrack then, any particular of the visual novels we did this year, any ones you particularly liked or disliked?
Trying to remember the name.
The one I
Kara no
liked,
Shoujo.
yeah, I
Yeah,
was going to say
Shoujo.
that's one I liked most this year.
Yeah. I mean, I know it's got questionable content in it, but
Yeah.
quite frankly, I found that to be a relief. If I had to, after
If you
reviewing a
heard
lot
one
of-
more Oni-chan, you're gonna punch your screen.
Yeah.
something to that effect. It's like, we just reviewed a lot of light.
The high school rom-com types.
Yeah, yeah.
Like Koropoker in Love is completely inoffensive in pretty much every way, but also
It's not. It's like eating cotton candy.
right. It's not
Eventually, if
bad,
you eat
it's-
enough of
it's
it, you'll
just
go into
very-
diabetic shock.
It's a very full sector of the thing, whereas things like Kara no Shoujo or the House in Fata Morgana sequel are
Yeah.
more interesting just by virtue of not being ordinary romance stuff.
Yeah, The House of Fata Morgana, Requiem for Innocence. Once again, this is a visual novels that others really like more than I did. I'm like, ditto the original. Like, it's really good, but it can be long-winded at times.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Well, I mean, if it wasn't long-winded, it would be a visual short story.
Get the
Is
fuck
that-
out.
anyway, we'll just mention a few more here, because, like I said, we had
Yeah,
a
I just figured it was
Wait a-
worth talking about visual novels since we do a good number of them, and they're a very different sector of the gaming thing.
It's certainly understandable. It's just we had a lot of good games this year.
Mhm. Like I'm
yeah.
still playing Ni no Kuni in the post show sometimes.
Yeah, I'm like, I had to move on from Ni no Kuni 2 because, well, I have other games to play, but
Yeah.
I put like 60 hours into it, which is really rare for me. It's like, at most I'll probably put in about 20 hours in a game before I have to move on. It's just, typically we only have a week with these games until we have to review them and then move on to the next. It's unfortunate. Like, I think I uninstalled Dusk, for example,
Mhm.
just because, that was before they announced the roadmap. Anyway,
Yeah.
Getting back to, some of the best of 2018, Unavowed and Lamplight
Mhm.
City.
Mm, yeah, I kind of
Lamplight
see
City
the
was an
appeal, though
adventure game,
those
right?
were not for me personally.
Right. It's just, I really, really enjoy those kind of, point and click adventure games. Those, and both of those spoke to me in different ways.
Hmm.
Yeah, I didn't get as much time with Lamplight City I wanted, but I really liked the aesthetic and the story seemed to be going interesting places.
Yes. And, it's good that Unavowed has been getting a lot of attention. Like, I think it's the best-selling game in Wajidai's history. Lamplight City, unfortunately, is much more obscure. Now, it's one of those times where I wish we had more pull with our reviews and such.
Hmm.
Oh, now I remember Unavowed. I wish I'd had more time with that one, too.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
one I
that-
didn't even have enough time to really participate in the review with, if I recall correctly.
Yeah. I guess we'll close out by mentioning, probably the highest profile game we reviewed this year, Dragon Ball Fighters.
Hmm.
Mhm.
It's like, it's the best Dragon Ball fighter by
Yeah.
a country mile.
Yeah, it's literally the best Dragon Ball game that's ever been released.
Yeah.
Indeed.
I know Xenoverse has its fans, but, it's,
But what about all those Goku RPGs on the Game Boy? Color, Advance, whatever.
Get the fuck out.
Legacy, what was it? The Legacy of Goku game. Well, the first one was god awful, but anyway,
It was.
it's like, I don't. Dragon
I was
Ball
both.
games generally.
Yeah, I didn't expect them to actually be that good, but I think it's difficult to at least compare a traditional, relatively RPG to a fighting game. But then I guess you could argue that a fighting game is an objectively superior method for a Dragon Ball game, since the series is very much a fighting series.
Yeah, looking at Xenoverse and shaking head.
Hopefully we get Bandai Namco back on the program whenever Code Vein gets a release date.
Because that's one of the ones I'm looking forward to.
Yeah,
that and Jump Force, but I don't know about that one.
Jump Force still looks weird to me.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I kind of want to toss into the fucking ocean. Because they have Rurouni fucking Kenshin in there.
Yep.
And that's an automatic boycott on my end, because fuck the author of that series. Like, he's a fucking pedophile, and that's the end of that story.
Oh yeah.
He got fucking arrested for child porn. I want people to know this.
Yeah.
He got a fucking slap on the wrist, too. He's back making his fucking comic, but I haven't fucking forgotten that shit. So fuck Rurouni Kenshin. Fuck anything that has Rurouni Kenshin in it. It's like, just no. Ew, gross. Anyway. So, yeah, that's our best and worst of 2018 in terms of what we reviewed this year. And we certainly will probably have a very long list to do next year.
Yeah, we already have, 3 games to put on the list so far come Sunday?
We've got 2. And that's a good segue, because coming up on the week ahead, on Friday, we will be having multiplayer sessions of Zeus Battlegrounds. If the game is working properly. I wasn't able to connect to a game whenever I did a test run. So that might be in the cards. It might be out of the cards. We also got Minimax Tinyverse. I checked on Woovit. Ineligible, because here's the thing. If you already have the game in your Steam profile, usually the publishers will decline you. It's like, also in this case, the campaign, you had to have like 5,000 followers.
If
this
only.
is why. This is why having other intermediaries is important.
Indeed.
I was offered this game via email. I asked for an interview. They sent me a code.
I guess that works.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm like, this is just what happened. Like, it's like, they didn't accept the interview. They just sent me a code. Okay? Like, it's a free-to-play game, so, it is open. It's like, this just opens, like, the dual world mechanic. Be honest, I haven't really looked into it. Anyway, on the Fragments of Silicon review this Sunday, we have both Lines the Game, which we've been featuring. Also, Petty Fan. I want you to look into Twitch mode, because it seems to be doing a unique thing with Twitch. That's rather involved.
Yeah, that's something you might need to set up, because I'm probably going to need the keys to the Fragments Twitch account.
Yeah, I'm like, and Aeon of the Sands, The Trail. If you recall, we did an interview about this game in early December. It's been out since early December. It's just, sometimes this is where the review queue lies. If you recall, this is a dungeon crawler combined with a choose-your-own-adventure game. I mean, I suppose I can nutshell this game right now. It's a jack-of-all-trades, master of none. But more on that in its review proper. And so, until... one final note. Kevin will be joining us next week. He is back from the holidays, but he just got back in today, so he's recuperating from that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So with that,
travel can be draining.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, until Friday, I shall wish you good gaming.